Time for business now. Kate Moody joins us on the set. Kate, hello.
Hi, Wasim.
You're starting us off with the latest in a long-running trade dispute between the U.S. and the EU.
Yeah, a ruling coming from the World Trade Organization, which says that the European Union can impose tariffs on up to $4 billion worth of U.S. goods over its support for American plane maker Boeing. Last year, the organization gave Washington the right to sanction $7.5 billion worth of European goods in a parallel case concerning Airbus. Unlike Donald Trump's trade war with China, this legal battle dates back to 2004. The sides have accused each other of giving illegal subsidies to their respective aerospace giants. Both have now expressed willingness to intensify talks to resolve the dispute once and for all. But Brussels have warned that Washington must withdraw its own tariffs or face retaliation. The global economy is still facing an unprecedented recession this year, but not quite as deep as initially feared. The International Monetary Fund has upgraded its forecast for economic growth from a 5.2% contraction projected earlier this year to a 4.4% slump now expected for 2020 as a whole. The group's chief economist warned that the coronavirus pandemic is still likely to scar many industries around the world, with women and lower-skilled workers the most affected.
Living with a novel coronavirus has been a challenge like no other, but the world is adapting. As a result of eased lockdowns and rapid deployment of both monetary and fiscal policy support, the world is coming back from the depths of its collapse in the peak of this crisis, which was the first half of this year.
The Irish government has unveiled its biggest ever annual budget as it faces the dual challenges of the coronavirus pandemic and Brexit. The spending plan offers more support for affected businesses and households, as Ellen Gainsford reports.
It's an unprecedented budget in size and scale for unprecedented times. To tackle the COVID crisis, Ireland's new government is reaching deep into its pockets.
We will prevail. We will come through this. And from the ashes of the pandemic, together, we will build a stronger and more resilient Ireland.
The package plans for an uncertain future. With the Brexit deadline looming, it assumes there won't be an EU-UK trade deal. And the Irish finance minister isn't banking on a broadly available COVID vaccine next year. The €17.75 billion budget includes a €3.4 billion COVID-19 recovery fund, focusing on infrastructure development, retraining and supporting investment and jobs, while €4 billion will be allocated to the country's health service, going towards extra beds, PPE and testing.
A deficit of €21.5 billion, or 6.2%, is currently projected for 2020. While this is a huge figure by Irish standards, it is a similar level of deficit to what peer countries are borrowing.
To help raise funds for these measures, petrol and diesel duties are to increase, and taxes on cigarettes and carbon will also go up. Ireland is facing a loss of 320,000 jobs this year, with unemployment set to rise to 10.25%.
Apple has unveiled its newest smartphone models, a launch that was delayed because of the pandemic earlier this year. The iPhone 12 will be the tech giant's first model that's designed for new, faster 5G networks, joining models from competitors like Huawei and Samsung. Analysts say this next-level technology could help boost sluggish smartphone sales. The line will, though, be sold without power adapters or earbuds. Apple says it's part of its commitment to the environment, allowing it to use less packaging. Apple shares dropped nearly 3%. Let's check in on the rest of the day's trading action. Now, Wall Street has snapped a 4-day winning streak. The Dow Jones and S&P 500 losing about half a percentage point each there. Tech stocks fared slightly better. The Nasdaq closing down about 0.1% there. Shares of Johnson & Johnson slumped as much as 3%, despite stronger than expected third quarter results, after the American pharmaceutical giant paused a trial for its COVID-19 vaccine. The major European indices closed lower, all sectors down except for telecoms. The DAX lost nearly 1% after a new survey showed a drop in economic sentiment in Germany. The CAC down about 0.2% here in Paris. Facebook is taking another step to police the content that appears on its platforms. The social media giant said it would begin banning ads that actively encourage people against getting vaccinated. A blog post said it didn't want those ads on its sites anymore. Our goal is to help messages about safety and efficacy of vaccines reach a broad group of people while prohibiting ads with misinformation that could harm public health efforts. That's a quote from that new release there. Facebook had previously allowed such ads if they weren't directly identified as containing false claims. It'll begin directing its 2.7 billion monthly active users to information about getting the flu vaccine during this season. Anti-vax content and misinformation about the development of the COVID-19 vaccines has been flourishing on social media during the pandemic. And Wasim, of course, Facebook also taking moves to crack down on conspiracy theories and Holocaust denial content on its site recently. It's really in the spotlight as it faces more calls to take more responsibility for what appears there.
Holocaust deniers and anti-vaxxers the same week. That's definitely going to change the social network as we know it. Kate Moody with Business, thank you very much.